What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Who You Got with
Melo.
and Rado. It's a sports podcast where we talk your favorite sports debates, sports highlights, and sports matchups. If you guys are watching right now, make sure that you guys click like on the video or click like on the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I want to thank you guys for watching. But today we got a huge fight that we've got to talk about, right, Melo?
Oh yes, this is a fight that we're going to talk about, and it's a fight that we've been waiting on 4 years. And obviously that's a super lightweight fight. That's the weight that they chose. Catch weight between Gervonta Davis and
This
Ryan
is gonna be
Garcia, and that's something that's
This is
just
gonna be the fight of the year, man. I've been waiting for this fight, like literally one of the biggest boxing matches that we've had in such a long time. I'm so excited for this one, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much both of these fighters. Gervonta is basically 28 years old with 28 wins and no losses, and Ryan Garcia is 24 years old with 23 wins and no losses. So the fact that they both have such a pedigree, both are undefeated,
Yeah,
both have been pretty much yapping at each other for a while
yeah,
now. So
exactly.
we definitely finally be able to see them in the ring, and it's definitely some
That
exciting
Twitter
stuff.
talk and that YouTube talk finally caught up to them. Like, I know, like people been hearing the stories about them going back and forth on the live streams and on different interviews, and obviously like even just as far as a few weeks ago. I don't I don't know if he's really gonna do this, but Ryan Garcia bet everything that that he's gonna win, and he bet all his money to Gervonta Davis that he's gonna win the fight. So hey, who knows? One of these guys might end up with no money, even though they came here to fight. But it's just so funny how much stuff's going on. Hmm.
They both have been pretty much
Hmm.
it's the same way with the social media
Yep,
stuff. And
they
since
have.
that contract was signed, they basically stepped it up a notch. After they signed that contract, it's been a lot more yipping, a lot more yapping. At the moment you're talking about was when they was on a I think Kai
Yep, the
Cenat,
Kai
they was on his
stream.
yeah, they was on his stream, and they've been definitely just upping the antics a lot, and obviously, like I said, at an undefeated record, two of the most dominant fighters in the game. We've definitely been
Oh
waiting
yeah.
for this fight, and obviously they finally gonna give the fans what
Yeah,
they
I mean
want.
it's definitely been time for this fight, and honestly, like I'm just so excited because obviously we know my man Tank Gervonta Davis. He's already a former two-time champion, and he's held like multiple belts at multiple weight classes. I mean, he's had the junior lightweight championships. He's also had WBA at 135 and 140. Um, you know, the last like four fights that he's had, he's been on a tear. But honestly, like so is Garcia. Garcia, like he's had an amazing run. Only at 24 years old, like the last 19 of his 23 fights, he's knocked out people before decision. So or he's gotten a stoppage. So honestly, like both of these guys, they show why this is gonna be a mega fight. Obviously you got different styles, but you got one that's a showman, and you got another one that could definitely talk as well. So, who you got for this one? Let's talk about it a little bit.
I mean, it's kind of really coming down to two things. They both excel at almost everything. They both got
Hmm.
speed. They both got power. They both know how to work the ring. They both know how to use their footwork. And they're both obviously undefeated, so they're both great fighters. But pretty much, you got one fighter, Davis, who's a lot more of a power puncher, known for his power. Not just one punch, but he can hit you with an uppercut, put your lights out, hit you with a hook. He can hit you, not really a jab, but he definitely can hit you with an overhand. Pretty much, he got multiple different ways of knock you out. And then you got the speedy
Hmm.
Garcia, that's very quick hands.
Very quick.
And while he's not known to be as powerful as Davis, he's pretty much has a beautiful left hook that he's known to set up very well. Obviously set up using that speed. Like a lot of people don't even see it
Mm-hmm.
coming. So it's pretty much power versus speed. And who can pretty much come out on
That's
top. So like, what I guess what are we
That's
gonna
true
see
though.
here?
It's gonna be a lot of speed from Garcia, but I know that Gervonta Davis is ready, man. Like honestly, he's got not only power, but he's got a lot of technique when he fights. Obviously, his defense is definitely it's none other in his weight class. Honestly, like he's able to like get away from punches in a lot of different ways. He's able to maneuver around the ring very well. I do expect him to be moving around this ring, even though the faster guy is definitely going to be Garcia. I totally agree with you there, but my man Gervonta is going to be coming out with some combos too. I definitely think that that's going to happen. I think that I do think that Garcia is going to be starting to pick his spots early on. He's definitely going to take chances, but he's definitely going to be picking his spots, and you're going to have Davis as the initiator. Honestly, the last four fights that Gervonta Davis had, he went on an amazing run. He fought three times in 2021, and then 2022, when he just had like a previous fight, like the end of the year, that it ended up in a stoppage in the ninth round. So honestly, I do believe that right now he's on a tear. He's been balling out, but Ryan Garcia has been too. Ryan Garcia, the last three fights, he literally been knocking people out. I mean, Emmanuel Tago, Luke Campbell, and King Roy. Like he's been literally beating these guys like they're not even on his level, and it really shows that his left hook is definitely his like priority. It's his specialty punch, but when he honestly his bread and butter is definitely getting those body shots. Now I do want to. I'll talk a little bit later about Gervonta Davis and the body shots later, but I want to know what you think about that though. You think he's going to utilize body shots more first and then try to go for the strikes, the big strikes, or what do you think about Garcia?
So Garcia, he definitely and that's one of his trademarks. If he can't set up the left hook to the obviously to the temple, he's definitely gonna dig into the body and try to catch you sleeping there. But pretty much everything starts and finishes with his left hand. He always starts off with a very good jab. It's fast, it's quick, it's accurate. So getting your getting your opponent's side of feint, pull their guard up, or which allows them to basically come in through the left hook, and that is obviously an option of the head or the body. Either way, once the hands are in front, he has that option, and he's definitely been doing very well
Yes,
at
yes,
getting
yes.
through getting that to happen with a lot of his
That's true.
opponents. The one thing he's definitely gonna have to pretty much
Mm-hmm.
figure out is how to fight with a patient fighter
Mm,
like Davis. So,
good
like you
point.
said, he's good defensively. But one thing he's known to do, he will definitely gladly give away those first couple rounds, quote unquote, get out by just kind of wait for that perfect shot. Try to find his pocket a little bit, gauge that distance, and really trying to break you down. So for the first couple of rounds, we definitely should expect Tank to kind of back up a little bit more, and Garcia should be more of the
Yeah,
aggressor,
that actually makes
and he's
sense.
expected to do that off of that left hook and then that left jab. But obviously, we got to see how effective will it be going into the later rounds, and obviously, will he actually be able to find an opening for that left hook?
That makes sense. I mean, even in his last fight, I watched the last fight with Ryan Garcia. He definitely likes to start out hot early as well, and I do think that in the King Roy fight, I do think that he's gonna start out definitely early again in this fight. You're right about that. And one thing I'm definitely gonna have to see though is what type of body shots that Ryan Garcia is gonna take from Gervonta Davis, because there's been talk of Ryan Garcia having an injury and like while he's been sparring during training. So I don't know if Gervonta is gonna try to go at the ribs and try to utilize.
Is it a rib
Yeah.
injury?
So I mean, I don't know how bad it is. Nobody's talking about how bad it is, but supposedly it's a injury that he had during training. But who knows if he's really gonna go to that right rib? And I do want to see if he's going to utilize that Gervonta Davis, because if he does, and you see that early, and he keeps hitting them with those type of shots, and that might change up the whole fight. But I just want this fight to be like non-controversial at all. I want this to be a good fight. I want to see a clean fight. Referee to kind of stand out of it, even if they're starting to clinch a little bit more. Like, let them kind of fight it out. Let them kind of get out of themselves. Like, this is the type of fight we need. No controversies, because this is the type of fight we've been waiting for boxing for at least like 2-3 years. They haven't given us a good fight like this with guys like this at this level in a long time.
No, 100%. This year, especially, it does seem like they are trying to put a lot more fights together. We definitely got a few more options of fights that will be happening in the near future.
That's true. I mean, you definitely got, like, obviously Canelo gonna be fighting later in the year, and then obviously Fury.
That's not a
I
super
know,
fight.
but the the guys that are like great fighters. But this is what I mean. Like, these guys are literally like both undefeated. So, and the way that they win, that's why you have to look at them like that. Like, yeah, I mean, also we can talk about maybe Fury might come back, but we don't know if that's ever gonna happen with Usyk. Like, I'm not sure if that's ever gonna happen. They're still talking about it, but this fight itself, like, I think this potentially could be bigger than that type of fight. I know, like, we're talking heavyweight, but and these guys are fast though. Both of them. If I know Ryan Garcia is faster, but these guys are both fast. They throw a lot of punches. I expect a lot of punches to be thrown in this fight. Honestly, like, and especially like you said, the first 3 rounds might go. It might go like 2-1 to Garcia, maybe even 3-0 to Garcia. But honestly, once he finds his areas that he wants to hit, and especially if that rib is a little bit injured, I do think that Gervonta Davis is going to start utilizing those, those body punches, try to get him towards the corner of the ring, and definitely close out Garcia's space and make sure that he doesn't try to move around the ring as well as he does against other guys.
No, I mean, honestly, that Davis is fast himself, but Garcia is a little bit faster. But pretty much when you have both of them, they both have to be fast to
Yeah,
do what they do.
yeah.
Ryan pretty much sets up the jab, sets up the hook, but Davis pretty much goes off of counter boxing. And at that point, you have to be fast. You have to be in that pocket. You have to have good reaction skills, and you have to pretty much have good accuracy. And he does all those things very well. He has great ways to force his opponents to kind of change their approach because they can't leave themselves open. So it's definitely interesting to see how his counter offense actually will see what Garcia brings to the table for his defense. Because at the end of the day, both of them have a couple of weaknesses. And for Garcia, his glaring weakness is 100% his chin and his defense. He's definitely, while both have a lot to prove, at the end of the day, Tank has touched gold. He's touched
Multiple
belts.
times.
Garcia, exactly. Garcia really up for the top fighter, and one of the best fighters he fought, Luke Campbell, was able to catch him sleeping pretty much and get him to drop. Came back up from the count, showed his heart, but at the end of the day, that finally made people look like, okay, like now we got to pay attention that if he's starting to fight bigger names, he has to not leave his chin so open because he loves to kind of stand up straight, kind of impose that size over fight. Uh, when you got a fighter like Tank Davis, who's honestly used to fighting nothing but taller fighters, you're just kind of leave yourself open for so many shots. So I definitely want to see how Garcia can find a way to still be an aggressor, but not leave himself open because at the end of the day, Tank's game is a counter game. And with that speed that he has, and obviously that power behind almost any punch that can put your lights out, is definitely going to be a problem for Garcia, and he has to be a lot more basically patient or just greater decision making when it comes to what he's doing in that
I could
ring.
totally agree with that. He definitely is going to have to be a little bit more patient and have to rely on his technique towards the middle of the rounds and towards the end of the fight, and especially that conditioning. But I will say for Gervonta Davis, the things that he's going to have to worry about, like some of his weaknesses, I do think he's going to have to try to stay away from the corner. if you notice in some fights when he gets stuck either in towards the corner or just towards towards the ropes, he definitely likes to clinch down a little bit, clinch down, and sometimes he doesn't look up. So people are definitely ready for the uppercut. He's definitely gonna have to watch out for some sort of uppercut, and if he's like closer towards the corners, definitely gonna have to watch out for that. I know his movement is very well, and I do think he's gonna be the initiator in this fight. But if Ryan Garcia just happens to get a nice step on him, starts getting some few combos, which I do think they're gonna exchange a few combos with each other. These guys are gonna be throwing like a few like punches that are just you're gonna see like 5 or 6 punches from both of these guys just hitting each other, and you're gonna think like, how are these guys not going down? But you know, I do think that if it gets to the corner, the better fighter is going to be Garcia. So that's one weakness that I do think that Tank's got. But King Rai is a beast though. When he gets moving, he loves to like move around you. He loves to actually like make sure that he's not standing in one place and he's got his feet moving, even though he's so tall.
No, he definitely got good footwork. He's got good speed on his feet, and you are right about pretty much Davis and his weakness. Pretty much, besides his lack of height, he is a small fighter. He definitely kind of doesn't try hard enough, and that comes from he has a defense, but he kind of doesn't mind, like you said, getting caught on the ropes. He doesn't really focus on getting out that area, pivoting out, making sure you don't get caught. And I think a lot of that has to do with knowing he has to enter the pocket
Mm-hmm.
to pretty much get his shots off. So he sometimes chooses some of those opportunities to kind of go through some exchanges and definitely see what he can get out of it. But like you said, Ryan is definitely not one of those fighters you want to get pinned down against in the corner. So I definitely agree. He has to stay off the ropes. He has to work on his timing. He can't. Ryan's left hand between the jab and the hook
Mm-hmm.
is so fast. A lot of times, Davis has to kind of hop
True.
in, close that distance, and really kind of jump into his punches or kind of lean into his punches. And those are instances that the guard's looking for to try to uh, use those opportunities to get his own chance to get that left off, get a jab off, catch Davis coming in, things like
Yeah.
that. So it's definitely going to be a chess match. Both of these fighters know what the other fighter is going to
Mm-hmm.
go. They think their weaknesses are, what they have to improve
Mm-hmm.
in this fight, and obviously what they need to bring to the
Yeah.
table. But one thing I do want to
Mm.
ask though, and it's been a lot of controversy, because at the end of the day, you said there isn't going to
I,
be
I
you don't
don't want
want there
there
to
to
be
be, yeah, because I
controversy
know
about
there
this fight,
has.
but the problem is there already is, and that's obviously with a lot of the complaints that Ryan has made about
The pay.
the catch weight
Oh no. Okay.
specifically. Not
Okay.
well, the
Yeah.
catch weight and obviously the
Oh
hydration
yeah. Yeah.
clause
Yeah.
that they put into that contract. So what do you really think about that? I don't know how much
Yeah,
you
and
know about
I
that.
had read about it. I mean, with boxing, it's weird, and the same thing. I think with the UFC is a little bit different actually, because the UFC when they weigh each other, like they they weigh each other the day before. With boxing, isn't it like a few days prior when they do the weigh-ins? So with UFC, it's
It's
24 hours. You're not allowed to basically like cut weight after you're allowed to cut weight only 24 hours. With boxing, you're allowed to cut weight three days in advance. So you're allowed to cut a lot more weight. So with this clause, obviously they didn't want him to cut as much weight, but and they wanted to keep these fighters. They wanted him to go up in weight and Davis, but I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, it's iffy because with the other sports, it's like everyone cuts weight, which is why I can't really make a decision on that. I mean, there's other leagues like if you're talking about like K1, kickboxing, or if you're talking like Pride, they actually do the weigh-in right before they fight, so there's no type of no type of weight that you can get off. But I don't know. What do you think?
honestly, I wasn't too bothered by it. At the end of the day, Ryan is the bigger fighter.
Yes, yeah.
So they did chose a catch weight, and while Ryan might have complained about it, at the end of the day, Tank is the A
Yeah,
side.
that's
And
why, cause
that's the one thing about boxing that I personally don't mind. A lot of people get mad at people. Oh, yeah, I get it. The best that haven't really been fighting the best. Um, but then they like I do like the fact that you have that A side, that you have that granted you shouldn't be taking advantage of it like Fury is with Usyk.
that's too
Like
much. That's
you over
definitely too
here
much.
getting
But I
way
will
too
say
much.
though,
But that
my man Gervonta Davis is getting the split 60-40 no matter what. And also, like, I don't know if that's 100% true. They did bet their money on it. So what I was saying earlier is Ryan Garcia bet all his money that he was gonna.
I mean, they both did. They both definitely bet all
Okay,
their
yeah.
money. Obviously, we'll see exactly what's gonna happen. If they can actually get that contract restructured, more than likely not in time.
But either way, it's
But at the
still
end of the day, they
60-40
made a gentleman's bet.
for
Um,
Davis,
um, Right, no, and he was definitely going to get that regardless because he's
of
the A
course.
side. But for the rehydration clause, the reason why I'm really not that bothered about it because at the end of the day, being that A side, like yeah, Ryan is a bigger fighter. I don't like we've talked about how Pereira just comes in so big and so much more heavier into his fight than fight weak. And I definitely don't like how that is. Like, I necessarily wouldn't call it weight bullying because unfortunately all the sports do it. But me personally, I never liked that aspect of the
I'm
sport.
with you.
Like at the end of the day, like the gladiators didn't sit there and try to lose 20 pounds. Like just fight whatever. Like yeah, I understand slimming down a little bit, but ain't no way in hell you should be losing no more than ten
I'm gonna be
pounds.
honest.
To kind of and
I,
slimming down that to me 10
that's
pounds
a
is a
lot.
lot
Yeah,
too.
that's
But that's
definitely a
if
lot.
you really stop eating for a couple weeks. Like I got a
Yeah.
fight coming up. Let me eat healthy. Let me work out. I can see you losing ten
Yeah,
pounds.
but that just makes that means Davis is gonna have to go up and wait.
No, they stay around the same
Yeah,
weight,
yeah,
but the problem is they didn't want Garcia to weigh no more than ten
right.
pounds
Above
on
on fight
fight
night. Yeah,
night. Above, yeah, yeah,
above
and
the
that's
catch
and that's
weight,
and that's
which
the
is.
thing. Like, I don't actually
But
have a problem with
I
that.
mean
I don't
I don't
even think
because
that
that's the way
is.
the boxing rules out. But I have a problem with the whole situation of weighing fighters, just like you said. Like I have a problem with it. I have that issue that they should weigh these fighters on fight night, weigh them at the weight they are. And obviously, if they overweight, then fine them at that point. If the guys still want to take the fight, if the opponent still wants to take the fight, take the fight, but fine them and then obviously give the prize money split a little bit extra a different way.
Right, and that's basically the fight scheduled for 136. Uh, Tank usually fights at
Yep,
134,
135. Yeah,
135.
nice around there. Yeah,
Right, then let's just say they both fight around the same thing, but he's wanting to make sure that he basically can come in at 146. At the end of the day, Tank is
I was
5'5",
well,
6'7", 67 centimeters or 67-inch
yeah.
reach, and obviously Garcia is coming in at 5'10" with a
That's what I was
70
just
inch
gonna
reach.
say.
So
Like,
it's
do you
like
think
he is a
that height?
bigger, he is a taller, he is a longer fighter, and it definitely matters. So you don't want him to come in as well.
Yeah,
Like I don't have a problem with that at all. Big deal. Some people's oh Ryan's just already making excuses, or Tank is showing that he's scared, putting in a hydration clause, blah blah
mm,
blah. So I definitely wanted to bring that to the light because me, as a fan and just as a enthusiast of the sport, I just don't like the fact that people do be weighing in way heavier than what their weight class is. Like, what's the whole point of having weight classes then?
I'm with you
If you
there.
could
But
lose all that
that's
weight just to get to Monday and then gain it
I'm
all again. So I definitely appreciate the clause. I think we get to see two fighters really do what they're
yeah, fight
supposed to
at their
do.
best. And I'm totally with you there because honestly, like I said, I wish they would just weigh each other on the day of the fight, and we go from there. And then they figure it out from there. If the other opponent wants to fight, then he fights. But I wanted to ask about obviously this fight does have a huge height advantage as well. I mean, you got one guy like you just said, 5'10", another guy 6 foot, so or over 6 foot. So do you think that?
Oh no, it's 5'5" and 5'10".
I'm sorry, what was I said 6 foot? I meant 5'5". Yeah, I meant 5'5", 6 foot. Um, yeah. Do you think the height advantage is gonna matter? Like Gervonta is obviously
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
100%.
shorter than a 5'10" Garcia. So do you think the height advantage is gonna matter?
100%. Definitely what fast and lethal with that left hand, like Garcia Garcia, it's gonna be tough for Tank to get in that pocket and not take any damage. At the end of the always talk about how the one fight that Tank actually had the most trouble with that a lot of people love to bring up was his fight against Pitbull. And for a lot of people, if you really like, it's my analysis of it, and I'm not the only one who thinks this as well. The reason why a lot of people think that was a tougher fight is because Pitbull is actually the same height as Tank, and Tank
Good
has
point.
spent his whole career fighting taller fighters. He's more used to punching up.
Hmm.
He's more used to throwing the uppercut. He's more used to throwing like that, like coming over with the overlooping right or the left, just kind of with the overhand. But he's more used to fighting
That's a
taller
good point.
fighters. So while the height advantage is an advantage, it isn't something that Tank is not used
Yep.
to. We have to definitely see how Ryan can use it to his
Hmm.
advantage. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to. Neither one are. It's so crazy because like both of them are just so scary at what they do. It's
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
you can't let the other one catch you sleeping, and
everyone
it's
per-
it's
everyone pretty
crazy.
much got this as a 50-50 fight. Like it's going either way. A lot of people are, going one way, a lot of other people are going the other way. I think it's just a stylistic matchup, which is going to be incredible to watch. Um, you know, I do think that with Davis having to punch up, what that does help him is moving forward. He obviously that's the way he likes to fight. He likes to move forward and back. When he moves towards you, he likes to control the ring that way. So I do think that we'll see that if that helps him, like if he actually like starts using his combos. And I do expect once if Ryan starts missing a few of these left shots, because when he takes them, they use up a lot of energy. They really do. And if he starts, missing, then I do expect Davis to start coming in for those combos. That's one thing I can see. Now with the one thing is though that when he attacks though, he likes to move his head to the right hand side. So he definitely likes to leave some parts of his head open. So I do think that if Ryan starts to use his right hand, then maybe he can get some shots on Davis in this fight. But obviously the lethal shot, we know what it is. We know the way that Ryan Garcia could really win this fight, and he can really make a huge name for himself in this fight. But honestly, let's go into the prediction section of it. And let me ask you, who you got for this one, and what round you think is going to end in, or do you think it's going to be a decision? Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis. Who you got?
It's kind of crazy, man. It's like a Adesanya versus Pereira all over again. One person is a way better, but the other person got a left hook from God, and if you get caught with it, it's over. I definitely do think both of them are great fighters. I just don't think that this is a a real risk and a real test for Garcia.
Mm,
And while it is probably the best fighter Tank's ever fought, either, I think Tank has that experience and the IQ and the coaching to know kind of what needs to be done in this
mm-hmm.
fight. I think it's gonna be a tough fight. It really is a 50-50 fight. I actually I really don't know who to choose, but and I've said it before in instances like this where I don't know who to choose. I then have to decide should I pull away from my bias or lean towards it. This time, sometimes I pull away. This time I'm gonna lean towards it. I'm I love my boy Tank, man.
Oh.
Since the fight's been announced, I've been saying like, yeah, Tank's about to beat the hell out of Ryan. It's not even close. But honestly, that was like a year
Mm,
ago. When we really get down to the numbers, it's not close. It's not easy. It is close. It's not easy. And it's definitely gonna be a tough fight. And at any point, Ryan really has a chance to turn this fight around or just end it point blank. So I definitely am not sleeping on his skills. But I do think that Tank also is not sleeping on the skills. He's made it a point to be let it be known he's working a lot of his defense in this camp, knowing that he can't get caught with that left.
For sure.
So I definitely do think that if it comes to your fighter bring your first move, this type of fight, you got to have a couple backups. I think Tank has more backups, and I think he's more uh, knows more equipped on how to. So yeah, so I got Tank Davis winning this
Yeah.
at a knockout in the ninth or the 10th. I would say the eighth, but I do think that Ryan poses some trouble, wins at least the first three or four. At that point, Tank's gonna have to start pushing up the pace a little bit. And he usually likes to do that and just wait for the knockout. So I do think he actually is gonna get it, and we'll go to ninth.
I'll go to the ninth. That's
Tank knockout in the ninth.
damn. So I'll just say this: like all like last year and this year, when I heard about this fight, I was going back and forth, back and forth. I really didn't know who to choose. You know, one week I would go one guy, the next week I would go another guy, and I was really, really having a hard time, picking who was gonna take this. But 2 weeks ago, I made my choice and I stuck with it. And what crazy is, I'm just gonna say it because I had the same thing that you said. I had it as a ninth round knockout. Now I'm not gonna say who yet. I'm just gonna tell you that both of these guys are gonna have a lot of trouble with each other. I do think that they're both gonna be fighting very tough, and I do expect both of them to be bruised up by the end of this fight. Now, obviously, Garcia is trained by Joe Goosen, who's a really, really, really good trainer. He's trained some of the best fighters in boxing, and he knows how to teach guys to KO people. He's a boxing teacher or coach that's a KO specialist pretty much. But Davis, of course, he can KO people as well, but he just likes to bully people. That's the way he wins. Like when he KOs people, it's usually a stoppage, or it's probably like a few times that the guy's been already down on the ground, and that's why they call the fight already. But I mean, bully boxing versus a guy that moves around the ring. You got a guy that's moving straight up, and Davis versus a guy that likes to move side to side a lot more. I mean, obviously you got the height advantage in Garcia, but then honestly you got the strength advantage in Davis. This is going to be such an incredible fight. I am so ready for this. I do think that Ryan Garcia is going to start winning the first few rounds, just like you said. I believe that's definitely going to happen. He's going to start coming out hot. But once Davis starts figuring him out, fourth, fifth round, as long as he doesn't get closed out in the corner of the ring, I do think that he's going to be able to initiate most of the contact towards the later rounds. He's going to be the one that's like pushing the fight forward, and he's definitely gonna get a lot of combos. Now, obviously, Ryan Garcia is an amazing counter puncher. So I definitely have to watch that, but I just think that the power of Davis is just too much, and he's just gonna keep throwing him around, moving him around the ring. Eighth round comes, ninth round comes. I think it's gonna be a stoppage in the ninth round. I think they're gonna call it. The refs are gonna call it in the ninth round, and Davis is gonna win it. Davis is gonna get a bunch of good shots on Davis. Or sorry, Davis is gonna get a bunch of good shots on
I
Garcia.
don't even think the refs call it. I don't think the refs call it. I think he just can't get
That's
up.
the true call. I'm calling the TKO.
No, I'm calling the actual KO.
I'm calling the TKO in the ninth round for Davis. I think he's gonna get another stoppage for himself in the resume, and honestly, he's gonna have a legendary career as he keeps moving his name on, and upper echelon of all-time boxing legends.
That's a fact. So yeah, we definitely both got Tank winning. A lot of people got Tank winning. Like I said, when most people seen this fight announced, we all initially just thought like, yeah, Tank's he got this. But it isn't so
Yeah, I
easy.
was going back and forth, man.
We definitely
I was going
will.
back and
We
forth.
definitely will see some good competition. And honestly, I'm definitely excited for it, man.
Oh yeah, I am for sure. I hope you guys are excited as well. And this fight is going to be happening Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, at the T-Mobile Arena Center, or I just said the Arena Center. I don't know which one it is. It's either T-Mobile Center or the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. One or the other. Y'all know
One
what
or
I
the
meant though.
other.
But Definitely gonna be
Jinx not gonna win.
a nice matchup to watch, and should be a honestly either way, whichever guy wins, it's still gonna be great to see uh, a, one of these guys beat each other because these guys are both like mega fighters, so it's definitely gonna be awesome to watch. So
It's got to go.
exactly. No more O's, no more O's. But we want to make sure that you guys get a chance to write down below who you think is gonna win, so then we can see if you guys are right or wrong along with us. You know who we had, so make sure that you guys write who you guys got, and make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you guys turn those post notifications on because that let us know that you guys like listening to these type of podcasts and these type of videos that we do. Make sure you guys are checking us out on all our social medias. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Just type in Who You Got Podcast. You can check us out there, as well as obviously Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or you can just say to the Alexa speaker, play Who You Got Podcast. But if you just want to find all that at once, plus everything and more, Melo, tell them about that.
Definitely go to www.com. We got access to the merch. A lot of them. We got the bags, we got the fanny packs, we got the bucket hats, we got the flip flops, we got the slides, we got everything you need, making sure you are ready for the summer. Definitely got access to all of our blogs if you want some light reading to go with our episodes.
Sure.
Access to listen to our episodes, not just on the website, but links to everywhere we have it, and we pretty much do have it everywhere. That's Spotify, that's Google Podcasts, Apple, Deezers, just pretty much almost anything you could think of. And obviously, you can watch our YouTube videos if you can't catch them here live, as well as obviously going to our YouTube channel, subscribing there, and turning on those notifications so you will know when we are live and can always make sure you catch us. And obviously, we also want to make sure you go to our Patreon.
Of course. You know, on the Patreon, we got a lot of cool things for you guys there. Sometimes we got some episodes that we don't post, even on Apple or Spotify, even on YouTube. So those are like the secret episodes just for those Patreon users that want to subscribe there. We got a few tiers there if you just want to give some general support, of course, or if you just want to, check out the videos. Plus, you guys can get some merch over there with some of the old logos. We got some really cool stuff to check out there. It's patreon.com/Who You Got Podcast. So definitely check us out there, guys. And we'll have some more fight episodes coming up at the end of this year. Obviously, even in the summer of this year, 2023. There's gonna be a lot of good boxing going on. So I know I can't wait. Right? You can't wait too.
Oh no, we got a lot of good boxing matchups coming up. I think we got. I'm trying to think of who we got because there was a couple that we had announced that fell through. Obviously, like the Fury and Usyk was something that we was definitely all excited for. But now at that point, we don't know what's going
Exactly.
on.
Nobody knows
We're
with
trying to
that.
see if one of those ever heavyweights. So let me think. I do know Shakur is fighting soon. Lomachenko.
Lomachenko is fighting soon.
Okay, yep, that's what it was. The Haney versus Lomachenko. That's in May, so that's next month. You'll definitely be hearing from us from there. Um,
And of course, that
maybe
Cinco
you
de Mayo
should,
fight.
depending on our
Yeah, that Cinco
schedule.
de Mayo
Yep, you'll
fight.
be hearing us from Canelo.
There's gonna be a Canelo
What
fight.
else we
And then
got?
later in the year, we're definitely gonna be talking about my boy Blagoy Ivanov. I know he's gonna have a big fight.
Oh, yep. And we got was it Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. That's another good fight we might be covering. So definitely got a lot of good cards. And honestly, that's probably all that's really actually
Right.
announced.
Right. We're
We'll
still
kind of
waiting
wait
on
to see how
fights
the rest of
from
the year.
Devontae Wilder. We're still waiting on Fury and obviously
Mhm.
Usyk. And honestly, we're here even Andy Ruiz is coming up with a fight, later this year too. So definitely a lot of fights that are gonna be coming up that we're waiting for, and we're gonna bring to you guys. So thank you guys for watching this episode, and we'll check you guys on the next episode of Who You Got with
Melo.
and Rado. Peace.